It's Easter.
Are we here?
We might be, yes.
Max, you're so subdued.
I am.
No, it's not normal to have you in such a non-effusive, non-ebullient state.
I just put my bicycle on top of my mother, your wife's, cream handbag, and it scratched it, and I got told off, so I'm upset. And last time I damaged your
my irreplaceable cigar canister.
By blowing wax
this is
into
quite
it.
this is turning into quite a kind of mournful little sort of all this wreckage.
It's not quite exciting.
So let us
as like dinosaurs in the
dinosaurs.
barnyard.
No, but we can't have that every time. Into each life a little rain must fall from time to time. Not too much and not too often, I hope.
No.
Right, let's see how this goes now. Yes!
Oh, yes.
Oh!
That is proper.
Terrible.
Butchered.
This is terrible.
Butchered the end of the Lancero.
Oh no, that's awful, Max.
Do you want me to smoke that one instead? And you can cut this one properly.
Maybe I will.
But that might be a little tight for you. It's up to you.
Let's see.
It's up to you.
What do you think?
I think maybe I don't know. I think you'll enjoy the butchered one more than you will my one. I think I might have to kind of.
You're gonna try and do it with the guillotine.
Nah, I don't think so. Funnily enough, I think what we might do is use a pair of table scissors,
or a pocket knife or hacksaw,
surgical
or bread
blades.
knife. We got to get this guillotine. Can you fix this guillotine?
Well, it needs to be sharpened.
Careful. Is it very sharp?
Not at all.
No, maybe.
I mean, you could rub your finger along that for a
careful.
day, and all it would do is gently massage your fingertip. That's more like it. I mean, look at that.
That's a proper.
That's a proper cut.
I thought you might appreciate the amount of green I'm wearing today.
We're not matching, but that's because I came from work, and this is
I know. This is just an emergency
clothing I have. An emergency broadcast.
It's an emergency broadcast for you, as you can tell. Highly excitable state that we're in.
We just need the sirens, the air warning sirens.
We've got to practice though.
We're in the bunker.
Look, we're in the bunker. I've got my green watch, my green cufflinks.
I've got my
blue watch.
with my
my green
the
Dupont.
famed Raymond Vale movement, which is that of I think it's wooden. I think it's a wooden movement. It works very well. It heats up quite a lot though. Here we are, and what are we smoking? We're smoking a Lancero, a Cohiba Lancero to be precise, the only Lancero.
And this is
this
is the traditional Easter cigar.
It is,
as ordained by the Church of Rome, I believe. I forget which scriptural passage refers to the smoking of the Lancero at Easter time. I think it's to do with the Pascal lamb, isn't it?
Yep, I think it is. The pastel-coloured lamb.
The Pascal, not the as in Pascal to do with Easter, not Pascal as in to do with colours.
Yes, I know. I'm playing.
For the barnyard full of dinosaurs.
witty
play on words.
Witty joke, Father. But here we're here and we're celebrating. What are we celebrating?
Well, the mournful occasion really is the feast of the death of our Saviour. Poor Jesus. And I don't think they were even, they weren't very kind to him, I have to say.
No, they weren't. This is a good cigar, isn't it? It's a proper thing.
But this has been transformed now into a sort of festival of chocolate.
Chocolate festival.
I mean, they've sort of managed to turn this rather, someone gets executed in public.
I used to go to church.
I think I might take it up.
We used to go on the, what's the day that people go? Sunday, I think it is.
Ah, yes.
And we used to frequent church for the children's session, the half an hour session, which was long enough.
It left you with a great moral compass, I think, though, Max. I
remember they've got the whole world. He's got the whole world in his hands.
He does.
I think I just sold something on eBay.
Maybe that is God looking down on you.
Yeah. So he's got the whole world in his hands, and then there would be tea and biscuits. At the end.
This is I think this I think will be one of the worst broadcasts we've ever done.
No, but it's so bad that it's good.
No, it's just so bad that it's bad.
I need to be uplifted. I think the cigar will uplift.
Well, I hope so, because the Lanceros is the.
I do apologise for being in such a state Father. I hope
I know. I can understand.
Who art in heaven, hallowed
it's
be
your
thy name.
reverence of your parents that
Thy kingdom come,
whenever
thy
you
will be
upset
done.
your parents, you're deeply troubled yourself.
Yes, and I'm told to just not do it.
Yes, and yes, and if it ain't, if it jow it, don't know it, it ain't knowledge or whatever.
They said just don't do it. They said sorry, you know.
Yes, I know that do dandyism, do George Brummel.
Yes.
That's it.
What did they say
Baudelaire?
that?
Was that Baudelaire
You said
or
at Oxford.
Barbary d'Aurevilliers? I can't remember. But do it. Do dandyism. Do George Brummel.
Oh, it's very good. It's very good. It's good to be back. It's good to be here once again. My motorcycle is making noises, so I'm on the bicycle instead.
Well, I must say,
It's very Easter traditions.
Easter tradition. When I used to ride the bicycle before my accident, I would often be smoking a cigar. I would be conducting some proofreading on the BlackBerry, as it was in those days. I would have an overcoat draped stylishly over the front, and then I would pull away at high speed from the lights, smoking usually Epicure number 2 or something like this.
Was it an Epicure number 2 at those times? Maybe that's a light cigar for the cycling.
Well, I mean, that was more the invigorating cigar without the weight of a Bolivar.
A Siglo 6 might be
Siglo 6
a
might be
little
more
too
appropriate
much
today, though, for the more mature smoker.
Maybe road cycling, I think the Epicure number 2. Maybe cycling in the park is a Siglo 6 type, when you don't have to pay a great deal of attention to your surroundings, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't know, unless
dogs and children,
children and squirrels and so forth.
Squirrels. There's a lot of squirrels.
But back to the cigar. I mean, I've never seen a squirrel in Cuba. I mean, maybe they don't have them. Maybe they are an anomalous creature.
They do have catfish that walk on land, according to Alberto.
I was going to ask you where you got this particularly.
No, they.
But they don't smoke cigars. Can we get back to the cigar, Max? The Lancero.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. It's the definitive Cohiba, the El Laguito #1 shape. Laguito, I believe, being the factory at which these things were made.
Not always.
Not always made these days, because of course that's they share the good things around in a truly socialist manner.
So it's quite exciting when you do find a box of Lanceros from El Laguito, or any Cohiba, in fact, from El Laguito is quite something to find.
And what are these? Because these are unavailable.
I wouldn't know, because you asked me to bring a couple home from work, and initially I said there weren't any available and we'd have to settle for a Monte Cristo Especial. I even said to Joe that you could just give me a Cohiba band and I could take a Monte Cristo Especial and put it on it, and we could kind of...
But the viewer would know. The viewer would know that our hearts were not in it. The viewer is a person of immense discrimination and perspicacity and sagacity. So they're not going to be fooled by that. They would notice the luster of the cigar. The color of the wrapper would be different.
Darker.
Yes. The taste that they would, that we would just...
The aroma that they would smell, as the kids call it, smell-o-vision.
I believe that is the case.
Yeah, that is the case.
Anyway,
this is a great.
This was his bodyguard. This was Castro's bodyguard.
Was it Chicho?
Yes, Chicho's driver.
Chicho, we've spoken about on a number. He's famous not just through that, but through us.
He's famous through us. I mean, his posthumous fame, if he's indeed posthumous, maybe he's humus. Jeremiah. But there's mosaics in Ravenna are really well worth seeing, you know.
Yeah.
They are one of the wonders.
I'd agree with you there.
Freddie would like those, I have to say.
Didn't you go and see the blood that?
Liquefied.
Viscosity changes over time. The birth and the death of Christ, it becomes...
No, that was the blood of San Gennaro in Naples.
Oh, pardon me.
That liquefies, and if it doesn't liquefy, they're in for tough times.
I see. So
they make
someone best get it out and put some liquid blood in.
Yes, and the best thing was that they obviously observing the sanitary conditions and so forth, the highest standard, would wipe it with a little religious cloth. And then the priest, in between wiping it and handing it to the next person, blew his nose on this religious cloth, further enhancing its spiritual value.
Ah, very good. Very exciting. What's supreme construction? My draw's a little tight, but it's something I don't really mind. Some people despise that, but I can still get the flavour. Maybe not quite as much smoke. This is a cigar that's going to take us a fair amount of time to get through, especially due to the fact that mine is filled to at least to my standard.
Yes, there's a Siglo 6 worth of tobacco inside a Lanceros.
It's a proper thing. I mean, these, admittedly, I believe, are young, and I suppose you can taste it to a degree.
To a degree. I mean, I think for me, what's interesting about this cigar is that this is the manifestation in tobacco form of the Spanish ritualized leisure culture. I think for the bullfighting, tauromaquia, as you know, is a big Spanish thing, and they would sit, and I believe they would time the bullfights so that it would last as long as one of these cigars, the Cohiba Lanceros. And you know what we do in Easter is the big part of our Easter is watching the parades.
Yes,
your brother,
Semana Santa.
Your brother is a big aficionado of these things.
Very much so, yes.
And this again would be a perfect cigar to have while waiting in a crowded street, much to the delight of the person next to you, puffing away on this large cigar. It would, see you through a long religious procession.
Yes. The technical
with
terms.
The band and the
pillow heads and the pointy hats.
The pointy hats. And then also the chap with the goat. Do you remember
the goated chaps, yeah.
And then the people chucking the weapons to each other.
Anyway, we'll be back.
And we're back.
Yep. Here we are. Very good.
Yeah, but feeling quite tired actually, because it's quite a punchy little cigar, isn't it?
I mean, what's the time? It's 9:05.
I mean, the bullfight hasn't even kicked off yet. No. I mean, this is what we'd want here with the Easter parade. All of that.
All of that alongside the Lancero. We were saying it's quite strong. Yeah, it's salty.
Bit sweet on occasion. You were saying.
Occasion.
You like the ash?
I like the ash. The ash isn't too grey.
What is the ring gauge on this? 38.
Yeah, 38. Good
why did they give the? I mean, why did they give the extra 2 points on the Trinidad?
I heard that it might have been due to issues with the draw, which is understandable. Because I don't see really how 2/64 of an inch are going to make much of a difference. So that must be a load of rubbish. There's probably the viewer will know. So if you could write in the comments.
I love the viewer that we're outsourcing, as I believe the businessman might say. We're outsourcing aspects of the broadcast now to the viewer.
Well, it's important, and they should know if they don't.
Will you instruct them, Max? But
I don't think we really need to know. I mean,
I would imagine. I heard the same as you, that they wanted to make it slightly better to draw, but as you say. But then I suppose anymore, and it would become no longer even resemble a Laguito number 1 or a Laguito number 1.2 or whatever.
What is it called? Is it called a Laguito Especial or something, or is it simply called the Fundadores? Let's just call it the Fundadores.
Well, we're smoking the Lanceros. So let us gather our thoughts. Let us compose ourselves.
I like it. I like the resistance on the draw. It's a little bit of work.
Why do you like the resistance on the draw?
Because I don't like it being, as Jimmy McGee describes them, a windbag. I mean, it's too...
Jimmy McGee. He would know what he's talking. He knows whereof he speaks.
The man is...
I suppose I came from that generation of older people where we were so used to being given twigs with cigar bands and being invited to set fire to them, and then I remember I
quite like it. I mean,
I've told you of the time I was at the Trinidad factory and kept pulling out sticks that were bigger than the actual cigar from inside. It was a conjuring trick.
Yes.
And now I pull out a tree or a fence post. This actually draws beautifully.
Your one, yes, I thought it was. This is probably a cigar that a customer might attempt returning, but then something I would smoke instead. I like it. I think it's very good. You don't want to have you've got to work for these things. You don't want it to be too easy.
You do like it. But these aren't available anyway, are they really? You've stopped selling them at Davidoff because they're too scarce. Mm-hmm. How many boxes do you have in the basement?
Half a box.
Is that all?
I don't know. You have to ask Edward. Some information I can't disclose, but all I saw was half a box from which these were. sourced.
I mean, viewer, this is like Howard Carter going into the tomb of Tutankhamun.
But what you should get instead, viewer, is the Cohiba Exquisito.
Yes.
From the Linea Classica as well, and also
we're thinking actually maybe we should one day do an Exquisito, because I used to like that cigar.
It's a good cigar. The Seoane or the Soane or
well, we have to ask Alberto. When are we going to do a broadcast with Alberto?
Alberto and Anna.
Yes,
it's very important that we
do Anna, we could shut up for once. Let the viewer take a break from our inane.
Well, with both of them, because they actually know what they're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about on occasion.
I try my best to look like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, yes. I mean, didn't Oscar Wilde win the Newdigate Poetry Prize for his poem on Ravenna?
No, he infiltrated the Hells Angels.
Yes, that was one of the greatest.
That was a literary
malapropisms. No, was it?
Was that in Spain that took place?
No, I think you were. What was it? How did it go? No, you said that he was the mayor of a small town in
like Texas or something like that. And then
the angels. Whereas actually you meant the easily confused Hunter S. Thompson.
I mean, it's very
who was well known for his aesthete-like behaviour and was sent to prison for homosexuality.
That's the one. That's very good. I like that.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think this is a very, very nice cigar. Something I would smoke over a Monte Cristo Especial. Something I would
smoke while indulging in a major sort of Spanish cultural activity, maybe watching flamenco dancing, or maybe watching a bullfight, or maybe watching some flamenco taking place while the bullfight was happening with these parades, using the silver from the old world, from the new world. Yes.
Yes.
And I mean, it's got a pleasing symmetry about it, because it was, of course, Spain that essentially discovered the cigar and brought it back. And
all cigars passed through Spain until not a great deal of time ago, no? From Cuba through Spain. And
quite possible. I mean, it was the pearl of their imperial holdings, and they didn't get rid of it until about 1901, something like that. Was it what's his face, Teddy Roosevelt and all that crowd?
But this is, we were saying, so something I'd smoke over an Especial, something I'd smoke alongside a Fundadores, and something I'd smoke after La Reina.
It's something that I would like to have. If I still drank, which I don't, I would probably have an alcohol-free Tinto de Verano.
Oh, bollocks. You don't drink anymore, like on the whole?
No, I don't drink alcohol. That would be an alcohol-free one. I would have to have...
What about one with alcohol? I've got ash, but it adds to the patina of my suit, which is not the Yugoslav suit that you mistook it for.
No, I mistook it for the Yugoslav suit. Where it's actually
Bobby Valentine.
Of Savile Row.
Savile Row, my friend.
Actual Savile Row, with the frog's mouth lapel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a proper suit. I mistook it for a Yugoslav tailored garment.
Before I check, which label is this? It's the left side, isn't it?
Well, normally. But I normally find mine in the right-hand side. This was made for me by Terry Haste in 1996.
No, right. Robert Valentine doesn't have a date, which is even better. It's got a telephone number. You might know. It's a telephone number 0. So the telephone number only has
how many digits?
9. So when's that? 01. Yeah, 01. So what's that?
Well, that was 01 for London back in the old days. But in the old days, you used to have where you would ring up and you say, Flaxman 4372.
What's that?
Well, that was Chelsea. That was a number in Chelsea, because you didn't. I mean, then you got those little codes. The first 3 numbers.
What's
so you
the
had
Flaxman?
7 numbers. Flaxman was the name of the exchange.
Oh, very good. Was there one of those down the end of the? Is that what that was?
I think that was a big telephone exchange. Yes.
Yeah, down the end of our road in Shepherd's Bush. Yeah, those were the days.
Yes.
Do you remember that in operation?
Oh yes, I remember everything.
Yeah.
I remember the introduction of the Fernsprecher, as we called it in German.
We'll stop soon, but do you remember, Father, when I asked whether you travelled to school by horse and cart when you were
horse and carriage?
No, cart. You weren't at that point wealthy enough to afford the carriage.
No. We just went with the dray.
Maybe it was just horse.
Maybe it was just horse.
Saddleless horse.
Saddleless horse. I would ride off like D'Artagnan.
Pony. Donkey.
Donkey.
Yeah, horse and donkey and.
There's a very good saying that's vouchsafed to me by Claude, a piece of great wisdom. It says, "Put the donkey where he is happy."
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough.
I mean, you can't argue with that
kind of. Is that a donkey sanctuary?
The wisdom of the Levant.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue with that. Where would the donkey be happy? This is a very good question.
Viewer, answers on a postcard or not, as the case may be. Where would the donkey...
P.O. Box, that's what they say.
P.O. Box.
P.O. Box something or other.
Flaxman 4372 signing off.
Yeah, you're seeing this on the cathode ray tube, if I'm not mistaken.
The cathode ray tube. Anyway, viewer, I suppose we're still fighting the virus one corona at a time, but I mean...
thank you for putting yourself through this episode. It's been a struggle.
It's been a struggle.
We'll see you next time.